Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Invictus Racing League IRL F3 League. And no, as like last week, your ears do not deceive you. It's myself, Gareth Hall, joined as always by my other half on commentary. It's Alan Sabatino. How you doing, Sab?
Hiya, yes, I'm glad you got that right at the beginning there. Yes, we are with F3 this evening. I'm really looking forward to this, Gareth. There's quite a few names in here I've raced against. I've seen some champions. I've seen some very fast drivers in here. And what we've seen so far around Australia this week, it's gearing up should be to a great race this evening.
Yeah, and F3, it's a league that I know well. I've spent a lot of time there in the past. In fact, this is the first season, I believe, since I joined in F1 2017. I've not raced in this, or what would be this league. So, yeah, it's weird not to be racing on a Wednesday, but it's going to be good to see what these guys can do after they've come in to replace, of course, an absolute legend of Invictus that is myself. Of course, I'll put myself up in that cat. But it's a league as well that you're no stranger to. You've been in F3 previously. Last season you were in F4. You were racing with a couple of these guys in here. So tell us a little bit more about some of the guys that have moved up from F4 into F3.
Well, I'd say Malc, definitely. We all know Malc is the commentator for the Realistic Performance on a Thursday night, and Malc in F4 last season shown phenomenal pace on this game. He was absolutely superb. I definitely couldn't keep up with. There's a lot of people I couldn't keep up with, I'll be honest with you, last season. But Malc's definitely shown that he had the pace, and I'd be fascinated to see how he gets on. Living Wall as well was in F4, and he looked absolutely superb. And from what I was just checking over the quick notes, Living Wall took the first win of the season in F3 this season in Mexico, so the all eyes will be definitely on him as he's heading into looking to try and make it 2 wins out of 2. But with plenty of fast drivers in here, plenty of potential race winners, and even former champions, IRL champions, I don't think it's going to be straightforward for Living Wall this evening.
No, absolutely not. Of course, you've got former F3 champion Craig in here as well. Craig 8728. He is a former F3 champion just a few seasons prior. As you say, Malc making that move up from F4 as champion. And yeah, plenty of very interesting drivers. A multi-time champion, Delanga 93, and Mark is never a stranger to the podium. And welcomes everyone joining us this evening. This is the second round of the season of the IRL F3 League here in Invictus Racing League on the PlayStation. My name is Gareth Hall, and I will be bringing you wall-to-wall cover of this race alongside me, Alan Sabatino, for the next around about hour and a half or so as we bring you some racing here from Melbourne in Albert Park and the Australian Grand Prix. We were talking about it on Monday, Sab. It's a circuit that you visited on multiple occasions. So tell us a little bit more about Albert Park.
Well, it's an absolute fascinating circuit, and I'd tell you one thing. What fascinates me most about this circuit is how efficient they are at getting this track built up within the weeks before. I have friends and relatives that live around this park, and you wouldn't even believe F1 would race around here. It's just a big lake right in the middle, and it's just literal, like the name says, a park. Any old park, you would never ever envision a Formula 1 race circuit to come out of it. And what these guys do down under is phenomenal to get the race going, to get the fans in, and to entertain us all with usually the first race of an F1 season on the calendar. And yeah, these guys, they put on one hell of a show. It's like I alluded to on the Monday night, usually it's a bit more exciting on the game rather than in real life, as proven on Monday night as well. But like I said, you've definitely got to try and visit sometime in your life if you ever have the opportunity, because it is an absolute fantastic experience. And just talking about experiences, we're having some cars now coming out onto the pit lane, out of the pit lane, I should say, Gareth, and I'm just going to keep an eye on Ginger Tiger 52. He's in the Racing Point.
And obviously our minds entangled in one as I'm on board with Ginger Tiger as well. So yeah, watching the Racing Point, of course, making the move up from F4 last season is Ginger Tiger, and he will be looking at getting a good result this time around. Qualified inside, I believe inside the top 10 last week. I'll have to check my notes, I think it was. But yeah, look, I'm sure we'll be looking at well, it's quite a stark contrast between Mexico round 1 and Australia round 2. Of course, Australia, it's that street circuit vibe to it. It feels a little bit more like a conventional circuit, but very much so, as you were saying. As soon as Formula 1 packs up and is out of town, it's back up to being just a normal park that you can walk around. And of course, as Ginger Tiger now actually makes his way just past the golf course that's off to the left-hand side there. So it's very much just plonked down in the middle, and the circus comes to town, and Ginger Tiger now part of that circus. In fact, we've got a car off onto the grass. That's one of the Williams. That might be wrecked, or Jesus Maximus, one of the two of them that are currently, as you can see, everyone out on an lap, bar the two Renaults of JSP and former F3 champion Craig 8728. And we are here for the second round of the IRL F3 League. Here at the Australian Grand Prix at Melbourne. It's a 5.3 kilometre circuit. That's 3.29 miles. Distance to turn 1 from P1, it's about 350 metres. Not very long at all. Very easy to find a lot of bunching up into not only turn 1 and turn 2, but down into turn 3, just where we've seen Ginger Tiger make his way through the Sports Centre corner. In fact, he runs out a little bit wide then. It's going to set him up a little bit harder for the next complex corners, but he gets through quite nicely. Tries to not take too much exit curb there on turn 5. It's around about 70% full throttle around here, so the guy's on the throttle pedal quite often and only really lifting for a couple of moments, maybe a slight lift into the next complex of corners that we're going to see the Racing Point go through, the very, very quick left-right. And watch out, that's going to be the hot zone for any incidents we'll see this evening. Will we see someone bury it nose first into the wall in qualifying? We saw it a lot in the race on Monday of the F1 boys, Sab, so even with the top tier, the Premier class, they really struggled here in Australia, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did, and it just shows you how tricky this track can be. You say you're on full throttle for quite a lot of the lap, and you only have to run it slightly wide or deep into a corner, and you can find yourself easily buried into the wall. I'm just keeping an eye on Delanga, and Delanga goes fastest for now with a 1:25.41. Half a second quicker than Ginger Tiger, so that's an impressive lap there from Delanga to set the early pace.
Of course, Delanga, former as wrecked, goes top left 20.342. Good lap there from the Williams driver. We're on board with Living Wall as he comes through turn 10 now, sweeping into the back straight alongside Lakeside Drive as he comes across and through to the sweeping left-right down at 11 and 12 of weight and of hill on the exit, back on the throttle, back up into 8th gear, DRS assisted down towards a slightly heavy braking zone. It's very easy to get on the curb here and unsettle yourself on the exit and get the car bottomed out, but Living Wall on the ragged edge and making sure that he picks up as much traction on exit every single one of these slow corners. Final two corners, very tricky to get hold of indeed. If you get the first one ever so slightly wrong, completely ruins your lap. But up to the line, Living Wall, he went pole last time. What does he do? It's currently second position at 1:20.385, 400ths of a second slower than Wrecked, leading this one away currently.
Yeah, Wrecked has set the benchmark quite quickly, but I'm sure that time will tumble. I was keeping an eye on Maggot in the other McLaren, but he's not really setting a competitive time. I believe he must have made a mistake somewhere, and yes, he peels into the pit, so no time yet set for Maggot. At the moment, we've just got 8 cars setting times. We're part of the final of those cars to set a time with a 1:22.056, so not too competitive from him. So a few guys still sat in the pit lane, still trying to sort their strategies out. We do have Craig in the Renault just about to come round to start his first lineup lead, so I'm going to keep an eye on him, see how he gets.
And I'm on board with teammate JSP 1299, and he's making his way down the back straight in towards turn 11 and turn 12. Let's see how much of a lift it is. It's a little bit of a lift on the entry and flat on out, and lovely run there through the second part through turn 12, and that sets it up very nicely as the run down to turn 13. Just want to make sure you kiss the inside line, just use a little bit of curb, and JSP doing that beautifully, and he's an absolute example of a model of how to run that curb there, and a little bit of a slight kiss of lock up there, but that's not going to hamper him too much. Around the final corner, you want to keep your foot in as much as possible, use the downforce of the car to slingshot you down towards the line. Across the line, JSP comes up into 9th position, a 1:21.636, and he's then put down into 10th position by one of the cars moving up ahead. And currently we've got, as you say, a couple of guys out on circuit. We'll go on board with Craig and see what Craig 8728 is doing on circuit course. Former F3 champion not all that long ago, just 2 seasons ago. Of course, last season it went to Aaron J. Spence, but Craig, before that, very much did a very good job to get himself champion in the F3 League. And the first time, I believe, he became a driver's champion, so it was congratulations out to Craig. And congratulations also goes out to Reshka in 6th position at the moment. He celebrated his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday for yesterday, Reshka. Hopefully you had a great day. So as Craig comes into the box, Sab, who have we got out? We've got Steele out on circuit. He's just invalidated on that lap, so like we saw on Monday, a little bit of a lull in session with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left to go.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well, Steele had invalidated, so we've still got a few guys ready to do their first lap, but a lot of them out on their out laps now, the likes of Nitrogash in the Ferrari. Nitrogash making his 200th appearance this evening. That's an incredible stat for Nitrogash there, so a big congratulations to him, one of the first drivers in IRL, wasn't he? So hopefully for his sake he can have a good evening. I've raced against Nitrogash many times in his realistic performance league. He's a good racer. He loves to try and get to the very front. He can often get frustrated with himself when it doesn't work out, but Nitrogash is definitely, when he's on his game, can be one of the ones to beat, and he's just about to start off on his flying lap in the Ferrari.
Yeah, and you took the words right out of my mouth, actually. I was about to move on to our very own Nitro, and congratulations does go out to Nitro for his 200th appearance. It's crazy to think there's only a handful of drivers who have made 100, let alone 200 appearances, and as you say, only one of a very select few that have been here since the very start of Invictus. 12 seasons he's completed here in not only the Equal Performance League, but of course in the Realistic Performance Leagues as well. So congrats Nitro, as you say, Sab, many accolades he's picked up, a couple of race wins under his belt, of course F4 Constructors Champion I believe it was with Malc last season, so he was delighted. First bit of silverware that he picked up here, 5 wins in that time, 26 podiums, 845 points, and generally just, I'm sure you can attest, Sab, just one of the all-time nice guys here at IRL.
Yeah, he is. We've had chats before in the past when either of us had an incident with each other, and there's been no handbags or anything like that. It's just been civilised, and talked it out, and he's definitely earned his place in the IRL history books, and he's coming across the line. Set his first lap of the evening with a 1:21.421. That slots him just into the top 10.
There's his teammate now coming down to turn 3 at Sports Centre. Now we saw that was a bit of a hot zone for action and activity on Monday evening for the F1 League, so watch out for that. We saw a lot of bunching into turn 1, and especially after some safety car restarts, some incidents go down there at turn 3, and it was a very spicy race on Monday. Now I do implore you, if you have some time this week, to go back and watch the PS F1 League. It was a fantastic race that evening, and Sab and I were left a little bit breathless by the end of it, Sab, wasn't it? Just so much going on, not quite no idea how really to cover it, as Malc unfortunately takes a little bit too much of the entry curve there at turn 12, possibly straight lining it, so that's not going to fly with the stewards. He's going to have to go again with only 7 minutes 25, but yeah, the guys on Monday really put on a show, didn't they?
They certainly did, and you just didn't know where to look, did you? As just point out that Delanga's teammate Reshka has just slotted himself into 4th place. So currently it's an AlphaTauri 3rd and 4th at the minute, and Delanga is currently on his next flying lap, so he'll be hoping to get a bit closer to wrecked at the top through the tricky left-right section of the circuit. But yeah, going back to Monday night, even the front guys were fighting. It was absolutely fabulous to watch. It's one of my favourite races we've done for a while. I definitely recommend people to go back and watch. If they do, I'm just going to keep an eye on Delanga. Can he improve on this lap? I haven't noticed whether he's up, I'm afraid. I just flicked through to him at the end, but he's coming across the line now to finish he must be happy with it, finish this lap. Can Delanga go any quicker? He does go quicker, but it doesn't improve. And in just saying that, Lewis G92 has just slotted himself into second place there with a 1:23.51. But wow, Living Wall comes back at it. What a lap that is, Gareth.
Yep, and it's not going to be wrecked going any faster. He has just put it in the wall and out of qualifying at turn 12. He's the first one to be bitten by the very, very harsh exit curb. And unfortunately for Rect, as you were chatting, just got all out of shape, straight into the wall, slam. And unfortunately, that is the end of his qualifying session. Front right tyre hanging off by the tethers. But yeah, so Living Wall takes provisional pole position with just under 6 minutes left to go in this one. This is the IRL F3 League with Gareth Hall and Alan Sabatino covering it. You can find me on Twitter at GT2_drive. You can find Sab at Alan Sabatino, of course. If you're watching, if you're enjoying it, make sure you give us a like. Really does help us out, helps the league out, and you're doing your bit to really help with that pesky YouTube algorithm. So if you are watching and you're enjoying it, just press the like button down below. Of course, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? We've got plenty of racing throughout the week that you can come and help and watch out here. So much action all through different gaming platforms. PS, of course, Xbox, and on the PC. The PC League currently underway as well. The PC F1 League currently with JCol and V8 Field Dan covering that one. So two fantastic commentators. So if you want to dip over to the PC League, you can do. Why not have both open at the same time and watch some PlayStation and some PC action at the same time?
Oh! Apologies, Posty. Posty has lost it at turn 12. He's the second driver. He was on a flying lap on the medium tyres. I was just keeping an eye on him to see how he would do on those medium tyres. Car went from underneath him, but he's managed to save it. So luckily for Posty, he can get that car turned around the right way and head back into the pits. I think he's just waiting to see he doesn't block anybody in terms of traffic. But yeah, Posty there survives another day, and it looks like he didn't pick up that much front wing damage, so he really got away with one there.
Yeah, and so he can possibly if he can get around and get back in. He's got just over 4 minutes left to go, and he'll be able to come back out. Fransan making his debut here this evening, so welcome to the league, Fransan 24, and he's currently down in 15th position, yet to set he's about 2 seconds off the pace of Living Wall, so I'm sure he's going to want to increase on that. He was doing pretty nicely in his first sector. We'll see what the second sector is like as he comes around the back straight down towards the corner. As you say, he's already caught out not only the man in second position Wrecked, but his teammate Posty, but gets through it nicely. He's up by 0.8 of a second, so he's currently looking at a time, if he can keep improving on that might just about dip him around about row 5, row 6. We'll see if he can take even more time off of this third sector. Now into the final two corners of the lap, down at Senna and of course at Prost, the final two corners here in Australia, and down towards the line straight in. And what's he set the time? It's a good time there. In fact, it's 5th position. He found an absolute heap of time in the third sector. 0.7 of a second he picked up in the third sector. That puts him up with 1:24.82 into 5th position.
That's a nice lap, that is. And look how tight it is, Gareth. From like second down to 6th, there's barely any time whatsoever. I'm going to keep an eye on Jesus Maximus here in the Williams. He's currently in 7th place. Just started his first flying lap now. Just over, he just run slightly deep there. That might have cost him quite a bit of time there, but he's going to try and push on. With just over 2.5 minutes left, Gareth. Is anybody going to be able to challenge Living Wall? He's got a good 0.3 of a second cushion at the moment.
Yeah, it's looking as though Living Wall might make it another pole position. Of course, took it last week in Mexico and went from flag to flag with the victory as well. So Living Wall very much looking one of the odds on for the F3 Championship this season. Equally, we've been told that watch out for Maga. He's currently in 7th position. His McLaren teammate is looking very strong indeed. Maga, of course, making his way up from F4 into F3. What can he do in his debut in the F3 League? But I'm sure there's plenty more out there. We'll still be eyeing up a championship challenge. We're only on round 2. Plenty more left to go. Of course, 12 rounds here in a season at IRL. And you can find out more by going to InvictusRacingLeague.com and getting all of your details on the website. Of course, sign up to get yourself on the grid here in Invictus, or as Jesus Maximus comes up to line, where can he improve to? It's up into 7th position. I'm sure you can go to the social media channels at InvictusRL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook and on Instagram to find out all about the league and how you can get involved. Currently on board with Maga, making his way down the back straight now in towards turn 11 and turn 12. Sab, who are you on board with?
I was keeping an eye on Lewis G, but he's invalidated. I'm wondering if he will be giving up on this or maybe going to go for it again. But Lewis G, unfortunately, is invalidated, so I'll go on board with Reshka.
As always, Maga's going to get all that shape into the wall, and that's him out of the session, pushing a little bit too hard. And did that upset one of the Alpha Tauris that's just come around past him? That may have been Reshka.
It was.
Yeah, Reshka on a lap, and you can see the McLaren in the middle of the road, so that's going to upset a number of drivers on their flying laps. It's a bit of an obstacle for everyone, so everyone having to back off in the third sector now, and that is, with only 50 seconds left, possibly ruins quite a number of last laps for the likes of, you've got to think, for people that were on flyers there for the likes of Reshka, maybe even for the Renault of JSP that's gone on a flying lap now. So yeah, unfortunately for Maga there, just one of those other corners on the lap that we tend to see people make mistakes. We of course saw IFR Stinson make a mistake there on Monday evening, Sab, and yeah, this track can bite you at almost every corner.
It really can, and I believe it did slightly put Reshka off. It certainly made me jump when he come round the corner and there's a bright papayaed McLaren sat strewn across the track, so I'm sure it would have cost him at least a couple of tenths, maybe a tenth there. But Reshka did improve slightly. It put him alongside his teammate. There's barely any, there's 0.02 of a second between himself and his teammates, so it just shows how close those guys are. Living Wall is out on another lap, and be interested to see if he can dip into the 119s. Oh no, he can't, he's gone off.
No, Sam, we know this. We know you should stop talking when someone's on a lap. But there we go. It looks as though Living Wall not going any faster. We lost JSP. JSP slamming into the wall on the exit of turn 5. And he's out of this one as well, outside of the top 10. So as you can see, Lewis G absolutely snatching it in the final Bretton's final stages of this one. A 1:20.008. And he's going to take pole position unless we see no, Sheepy isn't going any quicker. So Living Wall, with that run wide at turn 12, has cost himself a second consecutive pole position. Lewis G absolutely stealing it at the final stage of this one, 0.08 of a second ahead of Living Wall. 0.3 back is DeLanger. Wrecked, of course, retired much earlier on in the session, losing it at turn 12. Reshka will be happy with a P5 as well in qualifying. He qualified in P4 last time, so nice and consistent for the Alpha Tauri. Franzan on his debut in 6th position. Jesus Maximus in 7th. Sheepy, Maga and Posting at a round out the top 10. And outside we're going to have Steel, JSP, Ginger Tiger, Nitro, Partychev, Malc or F1 WWFC, and Craig at the back of the grid for this one. Now, I've got a little bit of a factoid. I was going back through the archives, Sab. The last time that we raced here is part of the F3 League was season 8. Now, Craig started from last on the grid that evening, 16th. He ended up winning the race. Will lightning strike twice?
Well, I think it's... well, he'd like to hope so. If you're Craig, you'd be hoping that you'd be able to still do it. It's a big ask, I think. There's a lot of fast guys in this league this evening, and what a lap that was from Lewis G. And crucially, I think, with Lewis G, he went and did another lap on those tyres, so he's done 2 laps on those soft tyres. So could that be a bit of a disadvantage when fighting with the likes of Living Wall and DeLanger behind? But back to Craig, I think he might need to rely on a few different incidents and what have you to have a good chance of at least fighting into the podium. But who knows? We've seen some crazy action so far. We didn't expect on Monday night Rudy to do as well as he did after what happened with him, and he ended up coming home in 3rd place. So Craig doesn't want to be too disheartened. I think when it comes down to racing in this league, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? And you can find yourself taking advantage of any incident. So Craig's still got plenty to fight for. I think. Oh, I thought it was raining there for a second, Gareth. No, it's just very gloomy.
Yeah, which isn't usual for Australia at all. But yep, it's. I'm expecting a dry race. I believe we've been told it's a dry race this evening. So hopefully, guys. But you can see the lights being switched on in the pit boxes there. So clearly, it is a little bit gloomy out on circuit. But yeah. So this is the second round of the IRL F3 race, and it's going to be Lewis G on pole position. Living Wall. Will he bemoan that extra or that instant at turn 11? Lewis G, as you say, an extra lap on the softs. Now that's going to hurt. We know the soft tyres go off very, very quickly here. He's going to be compromised into making an earlier stop. Will it come into play into his advantage? Of course, safety cars are very evident here quite often, as we saw on Monday. But well, we're going to have to stick around and watch out. So if you're enjoying it, make sure you stick around for the rest of the race. And if you are, drop into the comments. Let us know who you're watching, who you're supporting. What do you think you're going to see from this one? Who's going to take the victory come the checkered flag in about 45 minutes time? It's the first time, as I was just saying previously, that we've been here since season 8, round 7. Pole was synchronously on the soft tyres. Well, this time they've gone 1.8 seconds faster than they did last time around. And there's only a couple of drivers on the currently in this lobby that were here last time that we were in Australia. Steele, who's currently in 11th position, he was here last time. Nitrogash, of course, the man currently celebrating his 200th race in IRL. He's currently lining up 14th. Craig, he's going to be starting from the back of the grid alongside the another one of the founders of IRL, F1 WWFC 07, otherwise known as Malc, and the only other person in this lobby that was part of the last time we were here in F3 is yourself, Sab. You were part of here, and in fact, you finished on the podium.
Yeah, I remember that. I could have potentially won that race. I had a bit of an incident myself, and I dropped quite far back in the end, and Craig eventually went off into the distance. But one of the few good memories of myself around the track. Normally, I find myself trying to do rallycross at turn 12, but going through the outside the top 10 and nobody favouring that soft tyre outside the top 10, Gareth. Some are going on the mediums, and we've got 3 guys on the hard tyres, and that's Nitrogash, Tref, and F1 WWFC 07 Malc in 16th on the hard tyre, with Craig at the back on the medium tyre. And for some reason, Gareth, I've just had it flash up that fastest lap from Ginger Tiger, so weird things already happening.
Well, he's already pushing hard, it seems. Ginger Tiger down in 13th position, and impressive that he's already got back to the start line. It looks as though he's only making his way through turn 12 there. But yeah, it will be Lewis G on pole position from Living Wall, the man who went from flag to flag last week. He's not going to go from flag to flag this time. He's going to have to get past the Haas of Lewis G in pole position. Of course, as you said, Lewis G with that extra lap of use of tyres in qualifying. So will he have the grip come around about lap 4, lap 5 when these soft tyres start to fall away? De Lange, we know that the Dutchman is very, very strong. He told us not to expect anything from him tonight, but he's gone and put it on 3rd position. So clearly we shouldn't be building him up at all. Wrecked in 4th position, Veshka in 5th with Franzheim, Jesus, Sheepy, Maga and Posty rounding out your top 10 as we see everyone filing into position. The last man just crawling up to his pit box, into his grid slot. There we go. There's the right word. Is Craig, and he will be the last person on the grid as we get ready for the engine notes to rise. The second round of the IRL F3 League. There we go. There's the numbers sorted out. But we've got 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Australia. Let's get going. Let's get racing down under as they send it down towards turn 1. And it's a good start from your pole sitter from Lewis. Can Living Wall go down the inside? No, it looks as though Haas is going to sweep around, holds on to 1st position. We've already got a pretty clean start from the top 4, top 5. We've got a yellow flag behind it. It looks as though there's been contact between the Renault and the Ferrari. Is that Craig that's got himself tagged in with the number one of the Ferraris and won the racing points?
I didn't see, I'll be honest, but I've just flicked to the back, and Ginger Tiger was facing the completely wrong way. So Ginger Tiger, a very poor start from him. I don't know entirely what happened there, but unfortunately for him, he's got significant front wing damage. So this race already getting away from him, so he's probably going to need to rely on a safety car. But it was a poor start from De Lange, I have to say. He got caught out by Recht coming down the inside at turn 1, and then Franzan out of nowhere just followed Recht in, and and in the space of one corner pretty much, De Lange lost 2 places, so he'll be quite frustrated with himself there, but he just needs to keep his head down and get on chasing after these guys ahead.
Ginger Tiger looking like he's struggling on some overheating tyres, as we've got a one of them.
Nitrogash. Yeah, he's at turn 12. Sorry, Nitro. I apologise, Gareth. Talking over there. Nitrogash had lost it at turn 12, the first person of the evening to lose it at turn 12. Got it all out of shape, but luckily for him, he's got it going again. Oh, he's all out of shape again. Those tyres look like they're absolutely wrecked. Unfortunately for Nitrogash, he's fallen all the way to the back, but not quite the back because Ginger Tiger is coming. So unfortunately, it's been also a poor start for Nitro.
Yeah, Nitro not starting his 200th race here at IRL in particularly stunning fashion. He's just going to look after those tyres, of course, putting a spin on them will put some temperature into them, put some life into them that he will not be wanting at all. Currently on board with De Lange 93 in 5th position. Just ahead is Fransan in the Alfa Romeo. In his first race here in IRL, he's currently following Wrecked, who started quite nicely in 3rd position. As you can see, Ginger Tiger, 5-second time penalty, speeding into the pit lane. It has not been Ginger Tiger's evening. Not a great qualifying session. And, well, not a great start to the race either, as you can see. De Lange, a little bit heavy on the throttle pedal there, got the back end got out of him, but he's now going to start to come under threat from Sheepy behind. Now, Sheepy, we know that this is a driver that we've both raced with before, Sab. He likes to get his nose stuck in where he can, and don't expect to see the Red Bull scything down the inside of this AlphaTauri anytime soon.
Yeah, he's a hard... we've got... this is an interesting battle here. Maggot in 9th place is being swarmed here by Reschke. Reschke and Maggot side by side coming up to the second and final corner. And you've got also Party Trev on the hard tyres. Craig up to 12th. What a start it is for Craig. And Steelby not far behind. You've got 5 cars here, all fighting over 9th place. But Maggot must have had some sort of issue because Maggot into the pits early and that's promoted Reschke. But Party Trev on those hard tyres, that's a superstar into 10th. But Craig is challenging him for that position. Craig around the outside. Craig now from the back, Gareth, up into 10th place, and we're only on lap 3.
And here comes Steel B. Is he going to make 2 moves in 2 corners? He's going to think about it. He gets the move done on Trev, but unfortunately Craig just shutting the door there at Sports Centre at turn 3. And but still, as he gets up into 11th position, Reschke up into 9th. Reschke, of course, on those soft tyres, needs to get away from these guys on the middle and the hardest compound of tyres. So that's why Resch was trying his hardest to make it up and make a break into the top 9. We've currently got a yellow in Sector 2. Who is it? We've got a yellow that's just on the exit of turn 10, it seems. It looks as though it might be... it might be... Is it? Oh, I don't know. I can't see if the mini-map was defying me there. But no, I do apologies, as I was trying to look at 2 things at the same time. As Steel gets all out of shape on the exit turn level and onto the grass. That's not going to help your tyres one single iota. But luckily enough for him, he's managed to just about hold on to it. But yeah, as you see, these guys that started on the middle compound, they're starting to lose a bit of ground on the guys that started on the softs. And that's not ideal. They want to be staying in the back of that pack. Of course, Jesus Maximus currently just sitting... outside of DRS of Posty in the top 7. Reschke's got to want to get himself involved in this, but he's 4 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, I think that slight yellow flag, Gareth, might have been for Jesus because he was about 4/10 behind Posty and it jumped quite quickly up to 1.5 seconds. So maybe he ran wide in the middle sector there. I didn't see it, but I'm just going on based on the time difference there. But Craig now is starting to really put the pressure on Reschke, and Reschke not enjoying these soft tyres, is he, at this early stage? I just excuse me, I just wanted to say Fransan has picked up an early penalty as well, which will delight De Lange all over the back of that Alfa Romeo now. Fransan slightly falling off the back of Rex in 3rd, so De Lange will be looking to try and take any advantage here as Fransan trying to keep that car in 4th place.
Yeah, Fransan in his debut here in IRL, I believe his fan club have joined the comments. So good evening, guys. Hopefully you're enjoying the race tonight, and hopefully you enjoy. Hopefully Fransan can keep it on the circuit. But it'll be an early penalty for himself. He's got a long way to go. Lap 4 of 29, and well, plenty more racing here for the F3 League of IRL, and make sure you can join us for the rest of the week's racing. We've got the Realistic Performance League tomorrow night on a Thursday on both the PlayStation and on the Xbox here on YouTube. And of course next Monday we'll be kicking round 3 off over in Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix. Well, that will happen with myself and Sab commentating on that one on the PlayStation. Tuesday night, of course, is the Xbox F1 League and the PlayStation F2 League. Wednesday night, well, it's always the F3 and F4 leagues on the PlayStation, PC, F1 and F2. So all 3 gaming platforms, and well, 4 nights a week. So all the races you can get your fill of every single week. As Franzan goes a little bit deep there into turn 6 and turn 7, and in fact he's going to come under threat from De Lange, but it's not really an overtaking position here. Is De Lange going to think about the outside? Of course, the outside we saw from Rymac and Harry BR25 as Franzan gets loose on exit. That's going to open the door for the AlphaTauri to go around the outside. Now this is brave. We saw it happen once on Monday and it went quite nicely. Will De Lange stick with it? He does stick with it. Will they continue around the next 2 corners? Lovely racing between the pair of them, and De Lange gets the position.
That was good racing. They were respectful, and to get both cars side by side through that is brave, and they did it well. They big round of applause there. That was superb racing and a good move for De Lange. So De Lange now 1.9 seconds off of Rex. So it just shows you how much time he lost behind Franzan. But looking ahead, I don't know if you've noticed, Gareth, Livingwall and Rex have also picked up penalties. I have to say, De Lange is not known often for picking up penalties, so this, if he can keep it clean, like Lewis G's doing at the moment, this could come in favour later on in the race. Further down, Craig has managed to get past Reschke, so Reschke really not enjoying this early stint on these soft tyres. I think he'll be crying out to take these tyres off as soon as possible, so Craig comfortably at the moment into the top 10, top 9 even on the soft tyres. We've got yellow flag in sector 1.
Yeah, it looks like one of the racing points has gone off at turn 2, and Sheepy there just got caught out slightly. Franzan backing off a little bit, it seemed, just dropping off the back of De Lange, and well, Sheepy got a really good run on him, but the person that benefited was Posty, his teammate. Managed to jump past Sheepy as we got a yellow in sector 2. It's the Haas of, it's Lewis G that's hit the wall, it seems. Lewis G, our race leader, hitting the wall on exit of turn 10, so he's now dropping down the order, now down into 7th position, so race leader now down into 7th. Disaster for Lewis. It looks as though he just had an issue. He was just crawling down the back straight, so out of nowhere the race is completely flipped, and we've now got Livingwall winning this one by 2.6 seconds. Wow,
I did not see that at all. I was looking further down the order, and then you just seeing his name tumbling down. I thought he was completely out of the race, but he's seemingly back underway. He's now behind the Red Bull of Sheepy, but that car does not look comfortable. You can imagine he's going to probably want to pit because he was quite deep into the final corner, and Jesus Maximus is looking to try and get moved on us. Oh, it's Posty and Franzan. Posty and Franzan have touched. Are they teammates? I believe they're teammates, and Franzan all out of whack there going into turn 2, and this is going to open the door maybe for Lewis to try and get a position back, but Franzan dropping a couple of places there. That's exactly what you don't want to do. You do not want to hit your teammate, and unfortunately for Franzan, drops him down to 6th place.
Yeah, contact between teammates into turn 1. It's just not really a corner you find that you can carry too much speed around side by side with someone else, and unfortunately your teammate is the last person you want to get tangled up with, and Franzan coming off a little bit worse than Posty, who's now made his way up from 7th position into 4th in just a couple of laps. So Posty making moves, and well, he's now got De Lange just up the road from him, but he's going to drag along with him Sheepy, Franzan, Lewis, who seems to be back on the pace. We'll have to find out from Lewis later on what happened. He just unfortunately ghosted and just seemed to lose it, and now it's a 3-second time penalty. We've got a yellow in sector 3. It's a Haas, it seems, that's lost it. It's Lewis. He's lost it once again, so another issue for him. No front wing damage, but seemingly the Haas driver struggling perhaps on these tyres that have started to go off. Of course, he did 2 laps on qualifying. He's got to be careful for the next few corners. He needs to get back to the pit lane surely and put a new set fresh tyres on.
Yeah, I was saying that car just didn't look comfortable, and Lewis is coming into pits as Franzan. Unfortunately, the last few laps have gone disastrous for him, and he's picked up a 5-second penalty for speed in the pit lane. So our former race leader Lewis G into the pits into 12th place. I did not see that one coming, but further ahead, De Lange is slowly starting to reel in wrecked. He was about 1.9 seconds after he got past Frantan. It's down to 1.2 seconds now. So De Lange doing nicely here, keeping a tabs on the Williams driver, but Living Wall is probably got one eye on knowing that he's got a 3-second time penalty, thinking I need to start making some moves, and he's already pulled out a 3.1 second lead on the second place. So Living Wall doing what he needs to do at the moment.
Yeah, Living Wall doing what we find the Swedish do best here in Invictus, and taking up the mantra of Scopefielder and doing very nicely, getting up at the front and just dragging away from everyone else. And currently, closest battle on the circuit is between Steel BL 66 and JSP 1299 in 9th and 10th position as they come through turn 11 and out of turn 12. We've not seen anyone actually collect the wall yet at turn 12, which is quite good to see. We saw already a safety car in F1 by this point, but we've seen a couple of spills, a couple of spins, but everyone seemingly keeping it in the right direction. Even Ginger Tiger still with it after that woeful first lap from the Racing Point. There's a little bit of a lock-up there for JSP on the medium rubber, and in fact into the box comes Steele off the medium tyres. That's an early stop there from the Mercedes. Medium tyres, he's decided to come in on lap 9 and go for a new strategy, it seems.
It's interesting, that isn't it? Meanwhile, Craig on the medium tyres now into 5th place, up 12 positions. This has been a good race so far from him. You question whether he could do it again. Well, so far he's looking quite strong. Next up is Posty, 8 seconds behind is Craig. So Craig, I think, he don't want to take too much life out of these tyres, does he now? He wants to make sure these tyres get to the window he needs to get to. He doesn't want to be thinking, I need to push now and catch the next car, and he should just make sure he sticks to his strategy, and I think he could end up having a really good race here. But at the moment we've not really got any real close race here. I'd say probably the closest is between Maggot and Party Trev. There we go, Maggot taking Party Trev and Maggot into 11th place in the McLaren. Maggot, nice move there on the Racing Point, just got the move done nicely. There was no wheel banging or anything, so Party Trev drops down into 12th place.
No wheel banging. I don't know what view you were seeing now. I thought that was quite a forceful move from Maggot.
Was it? I only caught the end of it.
As he made his way. I'm sure if I was Party Trev, I'd be a little aggrieved with that. It's a 5-second time penalty for Wrecked. Unfortunately, second position. He's now got himself a 5-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane. He's into the box with De Lange, Posty in the box as well, so that's going to promote Craig up into second position. Jesus Maximus will be sighing a sigh of relief after he got out the pit lane and saw this swarm of cars, a McLaren, a Racing Point and a Ferrari, hurtling down the main straight as he came out of the pit lane, and he just about held on to position as he got into turn 1. But you can see as the pit stops start to happen, everyone going onto hard rubber. It's most likely we're going to see 1 stops this evening, and it's going to be it's going to be battles re-engaged, it seems, between the likes of the Alfa Romeos as Frantan and Posty, who had a little bit of contact between themselves about two and a half laps ago. Now Frantan starting to close back onto Posty.
Apologies, Jesus Maximus has just hit the wall and somehow survived. Maggot sent one deep on Jesus Maximus. Jesus Maximus tried to cut back on the inside, got all out of shape, ran onto the grass, hit the wall, and I think he's got real significant front wing damage, and he's falling all the way down the order. And I think Maggot got away with one there because he sent it late on Jesus Maximus. It may have caught him off guard. Maggot went deep, so Jesus tried to cut back on the inside, got it all out of shape, and unfortunately that's going to drop him all the way down the order because he's definitely going to have to pit.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, and he's just made that stop as well, so he's going to have to completely change that strategy. It's most likely going to be another 2 pit stops for the Williams driver. Slow in sector 3, it seems there. So yeah, the Williams going to have to crawl back to the pit lane. He's going to have to set a fresh set of mediums on. He's got a yellow in sector 1 briefly, and looks as though one of the Racing Points was a little bit slow through turn 1 and turn 2. But yeah, unfortunately for Jesus, it's those mediums, well, where you can possibly take them to the end, but they will be absolutely screaming by the end of this one if he does so. But well, unfortunately for the Williams, who was looking as though he was going to have a half decent race this evening in Australia, it's back to the drawing board for him, and he's going to be right to the back of the pack with Ginger Tiger, who's really not having a great race this evening. I believe he's now 1 lap down and fighting at the back of this one. Is a bit of a lonely race for that Racing Point, who had an incident on lap 1.
Yeah, he'll be crying out for a safety car, and I'm amazed at the moment. We've had a few incidents, and we've yet to see even a virtual safety car, which is quite surprising. But currently, it's a Renault 1 and 2. Livermore has pitted and come out not too far behind the Renaults. He's on the medium tyres, but Craig and JSP currently leading this race. But I'm sure these guys will be coming in for their medium pit stops on their stint on the mediums for their first pit stop soon. Is Craig coming in? I thought Craig was coming in there. It looked like Craig was coming in, but no, Craig carries on, leading on lap 12. Just about 4.5 seconds gap over his teammate.
Lap 12 of 29 here for the second round of the IRL F3 League, part of Invictus Racing League on the PlayStation. My name is Gareth, joined as always by Alan Sabatino. You can find me on Twitter at GT2_driving. You can find Sab at Alan Sabatino for more about Invictus and plenty of other things. Of course, you can go to Invictus' social media channels at Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook and on Instagram, or you can go to the website and find out more about the Invictus Racing League by going to invictusracingleague.com. Sign up to get yourself on the grid. Some spaces still left available, so get yourself in now. Get involved in a brilliant racing community here at IRL. And well, if you're enjoying it tonight, looks as though some of you are dipping in this evening. Make sure you give us a like. Really does help us out. We always like to target getting some good likes on the video here. So if we can get up to 15, that always does warm my heart, and of course does help the channel hugely with that YouTube algorithm. But if you are enjoying it, make sure you also subscribe if you're new. Always great to see new people and enjoying the races. Plenty more races across all three gaming platforms, Xbox, PlayStation and of course PC on Steam, that you can tune into this evening. PC League currently underway as well, which you can go over. Why not watch both at the same time? JCol and Dan V8 Field are currently covering that one, as we're on board with Sheepy chasing down Fransan in 7th and 8th position. Up ahead, Craig and JSP currently the only two yet to make a stop. They started on the medium rubber, and it's a Renault 1-2. I said at the start of this one, Sab, that Craig won from last place last time we were here in Season 8. Well, at the moment, he's leading this one. Of course, he's got Living Wall only about 5 seconds behind him, but it's a good run so far for Craig and the Renault.
It really is, and with the incidents we've seen so far throughout that midfield pack, as I'm just keeping an eye on Sheepy and Fransan. Sheepy going to try one round the outside. Fransan going to just push Sheepy slightly wide, just to say, nope, you're not having it here. You'll have to try harder than that. And Fransan keeps hold of 7th place. Sheepy going to fight another day, I imagine. He tried a sneaky one round the outside. There was no way that was going to happen, though. But yeah, Craig, as I was saying, he's managed to avoid all those niggles and little incidences throughout the field, and he's kept his nose clean and got on with it. And if he can keep it clean for the remainder of this race, it looks unlikely still at the moment he's going to win it, but a strong points finish is definitely on the cards for him.
Oh, Living Wall almost collecting the back end of JSP there. Just got too hot on the brakes down into turn 13, and well, locking up. Just missed the rear diffuser of the Renault by inches. It was, I'm sure he could have, well, that was any closer, and I think Living Wall would have ruined his race quite dramatically, let's say, without putting it politely. But he's going to have another go at JSP. In fact, it almost tags the rear end him on. Actually, you can see the difference between new tyres and old tyres. Here comes Living Wall. I'm sure he's going to send it down the inside. JSP, he's going to try and close the door. In fact, he does. So nicely done there for JSP, using a little bit of battery to hold off the McLaren. He doesn't, of course, he wants to hold up this McLaren as much as possible, because his teammate currently leading by 4.5 seconds. If he can hold up Living Wall for a little bit longer, it's going to help Craig, of course, going on to a fresh set of tyres to have a little bit more of an advantage, especially if we see a late safety car. Posty picks up 3 seconds, but currently it's Craig from JSP, Living Wall in 3rd with Wrecked in 4th, Delanger in 5th without a penalty, Posty in 6th position, Sheepy, Frantan, Maggot and Freshka rounding out your top 10, the IRL F3 League from Australia.
Sheepy has managed to finally get the move done on Frantan, and look at that now, Gareth, the blue skies, the sun is out. Not a chance. I don't think we're going to get any rain now. It did look it, didn't it, at first, but the skies are looking absolutely perfect now, and Frantan will be looking to try and keep hold of Sheepy and try and stick with this Red Bull, but Maggot is not too far behind. Maggot has been on those soft tyres now for 11 laps, so he's doing well on them. You can imagine he'll be coming into the pit lane sooner rather than later with Lewis G a little bit further down as JSP, I panicked then, JSP into the pit, so the first of the Renaults have blinked, JSP into the pits.
Yeah, good move from JSP. They held up the McLaren as long as possible. As soon as the McLaren got past, he decided, that's it, I'm done, and his team called him in, and in for a new set of boots is the second of the running Renaults. His teammate currently leading this one, Craig, quite comfortable out in front at the moment, a 4.2 second advantage over Living Wall. The Haas is now going to meet as we're on board with Lewis G, of course, involved in a couple of incidents early on. In Lewis G gets a take to the grass, battling for position. You can see waving the wheel from side to side in frustration now. I think he felt that JSP blocked off his run through the exit, but JSP willing to take his able to take his own line as Maggot picks up 3 seconds, and in fact on those new tyres JSP should have the advantage over Lewis on the 7-lap old hard rubber. But yeah, very much, and it's one thing that all racing drivers learn usually the hard way, that if you try to go to the outside, it's you that has to back off, unfortunately, if the move's not on, because you will get shown the door, as we saw from JSP there. In fact, JSP now coming under threat from Party Trev in 12th position after getting a little bit out of shape on the entry to turn 10, and it looks as though he's just about to recover. Reshka picking up 3 seconds. He's up in 9th position, Reshka, so maybe not the race that Reshka was hoping for. 9th position so far for the AlphaTauri.
No, and talking of Reshka, his teammate DeLange is under some pressure now. Posty is looking to put the pressure on DeLange in that Alfa Romeo. He's got DRS. I don't think he's going to be close enough to send one down the inside of DeLange. DeLange's desperately trying to catch up to the back of Recht to get a bit of DRS for himself, but at the moment Posty putting all the pressure on and going to fight as hard as he can to try and steal that 4th place.
As Maggot into the box for a new set of mediums, so he's in. He's going to drop down the order, probably down into 15th position, so the McLaren will come out. Now, his real hope now is that we see a safety car and he can use those mediums at the back of the pack to fight through, but I would imagine if we see a safety car very shortly, that you'll see the majority of the field diving into the box as Malc picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 13th position. It's not been an evening to remember for your F4 champion in the Ferrari, and equally nitrogash, his teammate, the 2 Ferraris that have moved up from F4 as the Constructors Champions, maybe not having the race in Australia they were hoping for. It's currently 13th and 14th for Malc, 14th for nitrogash on his 200th race here in IRL. One of the very few founding members of Invictus that started the first ever race back in Bahrain on F1 2017. As you can see, Posty getting all out of shape into the final corner there, and that's going to cost him some time. Just putting the power down too early, the car getting all out of shape. Got a yellow in sector 1. It looks as though it might be for a slow racing point, just allowing some drivers through, I believe it is.
Yeah, it was Ginger Tiger letting I think it was Craig and Living Wall through, so Ginger Tiger playing it sensibly as we got a yellow flag in sector 3. I can't see what that's for. That's for Lewis again. Lewis again has lost it on the final corner, and he's having to then has he got? Yeah, he's got significant front wing damage on the right side. He's lost his right end plate, so Lewis having an absolute nightmare of a race, and now he's got to find himself going all the way around for another lap before he can change that front wing. Been a disastrous race, unfortunately, for Lewis.
Yeah, pole sitter, and it's not gone his way. And in fact, that was a reset to track as well, which is a big no-no, especially on the main straight when you've potentially put yourself in the way of someone behind you. So, unfortunately for Lewis, his evening might go from bad to worse. Started on pole position, a couple of issues, a couple of spins. He's down in 12th position and might find himself getting a slap on the wrist from the stewards as Fransan deciding to go rally crossing there, making up his own version of the infield at turn 11, turn 12, picks up a straight penalty. He's currently in 7th position, closing in on Sheepy. These two seem to have been glued together for the past 10 laps or so, but the Alfa Romeo still pushing, still trying to close in, as finally into the box comes Craig on lap 17, and onto a set of softs to go to the end. Now this is a brave strategy from Craig. Can he make those softs last? He's going to be mighty quick compared to these guys on the hards.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if he might have seen what Maggot did. Maggot did 11 laps on those softs. So if Craig can do that, as he comes out right alongside Reshka, now this is really going to frustrate Craig. He's going to want to try and keep that position, but Reshka trying his hardest to get past that Renault. This is exactly what Craig didn't want. They bang wheels and Craig just about holds onto that position. Craig did not want to drop behind Reshka on those brand new set of soft tyres and then have to force his way through. So Craig now eventually comfortably through on Reshka, and now he can focus on trying to chase after Fransan ahead in 6th place.
Yeah, crucial for Craig to hold on to position there. Of course, he just needed to half a lap or so to get these tyres up to temperature. Reshka coming thundering down that main straight on very warm, hard tyres. He was going to have some better traction, and luckily for Craig, just about managed to hold the inside line through turn 3. Up ahead, the battle is now starting to come to De Lange as Posty right behind the AlphaTauri as De Lange looks to make a decent return to the podium here in F3, but he's going to have Posty behind him. Of course, Posty sitting on a time penalty as well. De Lange currently quite happy, no penalties, as you can see, very, very hard into turn 1 goes the Alfa Romeo. Sab clutching his pearls as he thought he was about to see a murder.
Oh God, I swear I thought he was wiping De Lange out then. I'd just gone on board. That is, I think that might have been Ginger Tag getting out of the way, apologies. But yeah, I just flicked to ride on board with Posty. I seen he was gaining and gaining, and I honestly did not think he was going to stop. How late he braked there, and I'm amazed he actually kept that on track, and you can see how much time he lost through that, because he was about 3/10 of a second behind De Lange, and it's crept back up to a second. So I don't think De Lange would have realised how close Posty was, and I can imagine Posty would have been breathing a huge sigh of relief that he didn't hit that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, he lives to fight another day, is Posty, and he's now still trying to take the fight to De Lange behind. Sheepy has got the other Alfa Romeo behind him as Fransan 24 keeps trying to put the pressure on, but Sheepy doing a good job at just defending in the corners that he needs to, and the Red Bull currently holding 5th position, of course, Fransan on 11 seconds of penalties, so he would be finding himself dropping well down the order then. He's in threat of falling around about 9th position currently as Fransan with those penalties. Maybe 8th with Reshka's 3 seconds, but up at the top, Livingwall 3 seconds penalties, wrecked with 8 seconds to his name. So De Lange currently on the charge for 2nd position, and if he can start to close in on wrecked, he might even get close to the window of Livingwall. So De Lange not out of the question for a win this evening.
No, he certainly isn't, but this last lap and a half has not been a comfortable lap for De Lange. He was around a second behind wrecked. He's dropped to 1.5 seconds, and that's just put him back into the clutches of Posty, and Posty with time penalties as well will be trying to put the pressure on De Lange. And the moment though, what's helping Posty here, Gareth, is Posty, if he can hang on to the back of De Lange, he knows with wrecked, with that amount of time penalties, Posty could steal a podium place off of Rex, so Rex could find himself not even... Once again, Gareth, commentator's curse as Posty picks up another 3 second time penalty. I believe that is 6 seconds worth of time penalties now for Posty. That is unfortunate. You know what it's like coming through turn 11 and 12. You only have to cut that corner ever so slightly and it'll hit you hard, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and unfortunately what we're going to do, we'll make Sab be quiet for the rest of the race, and he won't need to worry about of compromising anyone's races. Sheepy now going deep into the last 3 corners. This one is going to open up the door for Fransan to use some battery. He's got a lot of battery saved up. You can see him just flicking the button onto overtake mode, and through up into 5th position goes the Alfa Romeo. Good move there, saving up the battery until it was required. Now up into 5th place, up past Sheepy, who won't have anything to say about it. Down into turn 3, just not quite close enough to get back up the inside. Unfortunately, we have to say as well, someone that has come around and popped the balloon at the nitrogash 200th race party. He picked up a 5 second speeding in the pit lane penalty last lap around. So the evening for the Ferraris has not been a one to remember. 14th and 15th position, both with penalties. Not a great evening for Nitro. I'm sure we'll see him come back stronger in Russia.
Yeah, not a great evening, and I don't think it really represents their pace. Really, they are solid drivers, and unfortunately, it's just one of those evenings, like you say. And I'm sure they'll come back and fight even harder next week. But just looking further ahead, I'm keeping an eye on the Posty Delanga fight, because Posty's not really at the moment making much of an impression on Delanga, but interestingly, Delanga keeps losing time over Rector now. It's close to 2 seconds as Rex picks up another penalty. So Rex now, I believe, he's on 11 seconds worth of penalties. So this is really going to hurt him. What's interesting though is you've got the likes of Sheepy in 6th place. If Sheepy can try and catch up and keep to the back of France, and Sheepy could find himself jumping a couple of places at the end of this.
I think the driver to watch for the final 7 laps of this one is Craig in 7th position, currently 2.3 seconds behind Sheepy. He's racking him in around about a 10th every couple of corners. So Craig, of course, sitting without a penalty so far. If he can keep this pace up over the next 5 laps or so, he's going to be well within that level of as Living Wall picks up another penalty. So now that is door open for Delanga. Delanga now within striking distance of the race win. So watch out for that one. This is all going to happen. Final 7 laps of this one. Very interesting. Vreshka picks up another 3 seconds. That puts him on 6th. He's down in 8th position. But yeah, watch for Craig in 7th position. Watch for Delanga in 3rd position. This could all change come the end of this one.
Well, a bit of icing on the cake for nitrogash. He's just picked up the fastest lap in the Ferrari, and now he's just overtaken his teammate Malc for 14th place. So a little bit of inter-team battle down in 14th and 15th. Like we said, it's not exactly where they want to be, but showing they've still got some fight in them even towards the later stages of this race.
It's the battle's still going on between Posty and Delanga. Delanga just not able to drop the Alfa Romeo behind. Of course, Posty finished 4th last time out in Mexico for the first race of the season, and he'll be looking at getting on the podium. Well, to do that, he's going to have to get past Delanga and disappear up the road a bit, because Delanga currently without a penalty. As we said, Craig now within 1.7 seconds of Sheepy, so both Sheepy and Craig without penalties. But of course, Craig's decided, and we'll just quickly show you, he's decided to go for a fresh set of the soft tyres. Now 5 laps he's done on them so far, so he's taken the best of their life off them, but he's still going to have the advantage over these guys that have done 13, 14, 15 laps on the hards. Watch out for Living Wall as well. Living Wall, who decided to go onto a set of mediums on his stop as well. So Living Wall, we saw what happened to Rudy on Monday, Sab, where he did the same strategy, went onto those mediums, and the last 2 laps he was really struggling.
Yeah, he was. He really dropped off, and in the end, it was Foxy Red, wasn't it, who took advantage of Rudy's tyres falling away. So, Liverpool, I wouldn't say the race victory is there for him yet. He's built up a healthy 5.1, 5.2 second lead over second place. But if he picks up another penalty, then he is in some serious trouble. So, the moment, the threat from Delanga behind is just about manageable for Liverpool, but he needs to be a bit more careful if he's going to see this out towards the end of this race. But as you say, Craig is one to watch, but Sheepy has got the move done on Fransan. So Sheepy, hearing my call of having to try and catch up to the back of Fransan if he's going to take advantage of penalties later on, and he's got the move done nicely. So Sheepy in that Red Bull up into 5th place ahead of Fransan, and Craig will have seen that happen, 1.2 seconds behind, and he'll be rubbing his hands. Well, hopefully not literally, because he might crash, but Craig will be rubbing his hands knowing that Fransan looks like he's there for the taking.
You just used the analogy right out of my mouth. I was literally just about to say Craig will be rubbing his hands together into like watching these two fighting ahead of them, thinking, well, you keep fighting, it's allowing me to close up. I won't even have to worry about it. My tyres will still have the ability to get past you. They've still got the life in them. Of course, he's going to have much more adhesion in this stage of the race compared to these guys on the hard tyres. But later on, of course, he's still got another 5 laps to do on them. But you can see he's got himself within DRS DRS already on this lap, so that fight between himself and Fransan with Sheepy is going to engage in about 30 seconds time. You've got to think, as he comes around the final corner, he's going to go down the main straight as Trev picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 13th position. He's currently engaged in the battle with Jesus Maximus, and it's really not been a race to remember if you're Jesus Maximus, or of course if you're pole sitter Lewis G, who's now down in 15th position. Now here comes Craig, and well, DRS open, but Fransan in front of him has equally got DRS, so it's negated it somewhat, and in fact Craig has used a lot of his battery power, that ERS. You can see just the bar just underneath the solid orange bar, you can see on the T-cam as Sheepy goes a little bit deep. That's going to just back the pack up a little bit, so Craig can just take stock and just watch out, because he doesn't want to pick up any unnecessary front wind damage at this stage. But he's going to need to watch out for that battery, because he's going to need it late on if he's going to close in potentially on for a podium if he can clear these two.
Yeah, definitely. And oh, here we go. Fransan must have had an issue there, and Craig was all of a sudden all over the gearbox of that Alfa Romeo. Has Fransan got an issue here? Because Craig now is pushing really hard. Is he going to send one down the inside coming up to turn 11? This would be very brave to send one there. Craig thinks better of it, and I don't know, has Fransan's tyres maybe have gone here? I don't know what happened there, but Fransan just didn't seem to have any go at all, and he may have slightly caught Craig out. But Fransan now under significant pressure from Craig, and this might be an opportunity for Sheepy to try and pull away if possible, but Fransan hanging on to that back of that Red Bull. As
pole sitter Lewis's evening goes from bad to worse, 3-second time penalty. Now here comes Craig, and I think I can probably describe what happened to Fransan. It's called mirror driving. He's spending the majority of his lap at the moment trying to look in front of him and behind him at the same time. You can see Sheepy going defensive, Fransan going defensive. Craig can just sit and take his own line. You can see he's going to get a run out of turn 2 down towards turn 3. It's DRS open for both the pair behind Sheepy. He's going to have to look to the outside. Fransan, is he going to give him the room? No, he's going to squeeze him, as he should. Of course, you have the ability to take the line as long as you leave a relative car's width. As Ginger Tiger picks up 3 seconds, he's had a woeful evening, unfortunately, at Racing Point this evening. And Craig, you can imagine the Scotsman will be getting frustrated behind that helmet. There'll be a little bit of, I'm sure, blue language coming out, as he knows that his chance for a podium is really starting to slip away with the laps that he can't get past both Fransan and Sheepy.
Yeah, this could be incredibly frustrating for him. I know I could be feeling the frustration as well if I was in his position. But what's helping Fransan is Craig. Craig has picked up a penalty. Unfortunately for Craig, he has picked up a penalty. So Sheepy really is in the best position now. But Craig, through that frustration, I imagine, just not able to get past that Alfa Romeo, has picked up that penalty, and Fransan then still hanging on to the back of Sheepy, and Sheepy will be knowing that Craig has got that penalty. So even if Craig managed to get ahead the last couple of laps, Sheepy will have a 3-second buffer over him. Just further ahead, Posty has not been able to lick the stamp and send it yet on De Lange. De Lange's still in third place, Posty stuck in that rut in fourth.
How long have you been waiting to line that one up for? We know you've had that one in the bank.
Oh yeah.
But Posty, yeah, as you say, currently sitting 0.7 of a second behind De Lange, and Malc doing a good job at the moment, currently holding third position. He's got his eyes on second place, which would be a good result for Malc. And as he said to you before the race, Sab, he said, "Don't expect anything from me this evening." And that's always what he says to us when we know he's going to go out and have a good race. So what he just needs to do is just say it more often. But currently, he's running in third. He's got the Alfa Romeo behind him, and we've got an all from Sab, which usually means something's going on.
Craig and Fransan are side by side, and Craig's got off the track. Oh no, Craig's hit the wall at turn 10. Big damage. Fransan and Craig tried to go side by side through the corner. I didn't quite see exactly the touch, but Craig ended up sideways, couldn't get the car back in control, hit the wall, and unfortunately Craig has got significant front left end plate damage there, and that has really ruined his chances now of scoring a podium, even maybe possibly a points place finish now, because he's going to have to pit after that.
We'll see, does he come in? No, he's going to stick with it. He knows there's only 2 laps left to go, but of course he's going to be hemorrhaging time, hand over fist now, and he's going to come under threat from not only Reshka behind, but his teammate JSP, who's going to be charging from 9th position, sniffing an extra couple of points. We're on the penultimate lap of this one, the IRL F3 League, here on Wednesday evening with myself, Gareth Hall, and Alan Sabatino, your commentators for tonight. And you can see Nitro and Lewis swapping positions over 14th and 15th position. Living Wall currently leading this one away. He's sitting on a couple of time penalties, but at the moment it looks as though the win is going to go his way. And Living Wall, who started in 2nd position, last week's pole and race winner, looking to make it 2 out of 2. And the royal blue and the yellow of the Swede and on his helmet is once again, it's very well, it's often what we've seen these sort of races from Scopefielder, so it's good to see the Swedish coming up once again and having a good race in Invictus, Sab.
Oh, most definitely. And apart from those penalties, he's been absolutely faultless, hasn't he, this evening? He's drove a superb race, and unfortunately for De Lange, he's not been able to hang on to the back of the likes of Rek to challenge Living Wall's penalties. But yeah, it's been a good evening for the McLaren driver. This looks like, coming on to the final lap now, it's going to be 2 wins in a row, and he's looking at a serious contender this season for challenging for that F3 title.
Yeah, we'll go on board with him, but we'll just check in with, we're going to have a battle down the main straight. It's going to be between Reshka, JSP and Craig. Of course, Craig with that front wing damage. Here comes Reshka, and Reshka's going to have, I'm sure, an easy run through the first corner. Craig, in fact, is going to tag him on exit. He's lucky to not put Reshka in the wall there. Very, very close indeed. Craig, of course, will be struggling with that extra loss of downforce. JSP, his teammate, now starting to come behind him. Will we see Craig fight with his teammate, or does he realise that JSP is still trying to overtake Reshka? Of course, Reshka, there you go. Will they swap? They do swap. So Craig pulls to the side. He lets his teammate go. But up at the front of this one is Living Wall that is coming around the final few corners now. And as you say, apart from a couple of off-track excursions, it has been another faultless race from the Swede. And he's coming into the final 2 corners. We've got yellow in sector 3. Ginger Tigers got all the way to the end by the final lap and unfortunately crashed at turn 12. But it's Living Wall. The McLaren goes 2 for 2 to open the season, and he is your race winner here on IRL F3. Rekt is going to come across the line in 2nd, but it's going to be De Lange that looks as though he's going to beat him on penalties up into 2nd. Brilliant result there from De Lange in 2nd. Rekt holds on to 3rd. Posty misses out on a podium by 1.5 tenths of a second. Sheepy is going to make it 5th with Fransan on his debut in 6th. Reshka is going to come to the line. It looks as though he's going to be beaten on penalties by JSP, but Reshka is going to take 7th and then makes it 8th. In fact, JSP jumps up past Fransan into 6th position. Craig jumps up past Reshka, so it's all changed up at in the back end of the points there. So you can see top 10 is found and finished by Steel BL. Maggot, who was not had the race he was hoping for, got involved in a couple of heavy-handed overtakes. He's down in 11th position. Trev is going to come across the line. He's sitting on a 3-second time penalty, so he's going to find himself behind the Williams of Jesus Maximus, who of course had front wing damage as well, so Jesus not having a great race. Lewis G from pole position, well, what do you say, not a great race until a couple of issues, and nitrogash and his Ferrari teammate of Malc finishing off this one. And Nitro, well, congratulations for 200 races in IRL. Perhaps maybe your 400th race might be a little bit better than this one in another 200 races time. But final man across the line will be F1 WWFC, otherwise known as Malc, who of course you can hear in the commentary box tomorrow night for the PS Realistic Performance League here on YouTube, where he'll be joined as always by Tim. Driver of the day goes to Craig, and well, apart from that late wing damage, you'd probably agree with that one, Sam. It was a good race from the Scotsman.
Yeah, it was, and I can imagine he'd feel incredibly frustrated with the way that ended. He still ended up in the points, which is a great result for him, but what could have been, he could have, I'd say, easily been in the top 5, but unfortunately for him, that tangle with Fransan just cost him. But going back to the podium here, the champagne is flowing, and the living wall is starting to set up home on that top step, it seems.
It is, and I'm sure you'll be delighted to see a McLaren on the top step. But there you go, Living Wall takes the win with a great second place to the victory. So a very good race average of finishing first in the first two races and second place on the grid today to the win. He does it with 41 minutes and 51 seconds under his belt, ahead of the Dutchman De Lange, who picks up his first podium of the season. Recht picks up his first podium of IRL, being in IRL in third, with Posty fourth, Sheepy fifth. JSP makes his way up to sixth with no penalties. Fransan on his debut in seventh, with Craig in eighth. Reshka and Steele round out the points with Maggot, Jesus Maximus, Party Trev, Lewis G, Nitrogash, and Malc. And unfortunately, Ginger Tiger, after a dismal race, unfortunately for the Racing Point, just didn't go his way and retired with just a few corners left to go in this one, but finishes another great race here in Australia, Sab. We saw a good one on Monday, a good one here this evening. Maybe not as much action with how frenetic with maybe the safety car restarts, but the F3 guys always putting in a good show.
Oh, yeah, they're most definitely. And some of these guys really showing their pace this evening, like Living Wall and Craig as well, shown great pace up until the end there. These guys did definitely put on a show. And with some of the incidents we had, I was amazed we didn't get a single safety car, virtual safety car. But in the end, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this evening. These guys really shown us what they can do here in IRL. And going forward, I'm sure they'll give us plenty more great races to watch in the future. I'm sure if you're going to tune in to YouTube, try and keep an eye on this league, because there's probably going to be some more great races. But at the moment, Living Wall's the man to beat.
He is very much indeed. That's 2 from 2, 30 from 32 points available for Living Wall. So I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with his opening start to the season. De Lange, well, he will be happy after a pretty poor Mexico race where he picked up 2 points. 12 points added to his tally puts him much further up in the championship. And of course, Recht making his first appearance on the podium. He takes 10 points to add to his 6 that he picked up last week in Mexico. So solid 16 points to open the season, but it's 30 points from the Swede up ahead of this one. And he'll be the man to watch as we come back to the IRL F3 League in 7 days' time at Sochi Autodrome in Russia for the third round of the season. But make sure you tune in for the rest of the races this week. Tomorrow night, it's the Realistic Performance League on the PlayStation with Tim and Malc in the commentary box, where you can find myself and Sab on the grid if you'd like to watch us somehow make it through the Australian Grand Prix. Of course, the Xbox Realistic Performance League will be streaming their live POVs of the race as well, equally on YouTube. And of course, next week, the racing for round 3 kicks off on Monday evenings, 8 p.m. with myself and with Sab, back in our usual time slots on a Monday evening at 8 p.m. on YouTube, covering the PlayStation F1 League, the premier class of Invictus Racing League. And we'll see if Harry BR25 can have a better race than what we saw from him fortunately on Monday, with a couple of a bit of an instant strewn race from your two-time runner-up in the league and champion, possibly championship favourite, we'll see. But then of course Tuesday nights you've got Xbox F1 and PS4 and PS5 F2, and of course next Wednesday you can find the PC F1 and F2 leagues, the F3 and F4. So many, I lose count of which ones we have and on which days. But you can find out more by going to the website invictusracingleague.com to find out and get yourself on the grid here in IRL. Of course, go to the socials, Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook and on Instagram. Of course, you can find Sab and I at GT2_driving for myself, at Alan Sabatino for Sab to find out more. And of course, we're always looking for new drivers. We're equally always looking for new commentators. If you'd like to get involved in the commentary team, make sure you get in touch with us on the social media channels. Best place to get involved and get involved in a fun community and try yourself out as a commentator. Always happy to help out some new people, get involved in broadcasting, let me know by going to either my Twitter page or, of course, over to IRL's. But for this week, hopefully you've enjoyed a good F3 race this evening. We'll be back in 7 days' time for the third round of the season in Russia. But from myself, Gareth Hall, and from Alan Sabatino for this week, hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. Stay safe, have a great week, and we'll see you very soon.